Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fired Up eSports League race here at Watkins Glen tonight. My name's Greg McConey. I know I'm not your typical guy that fills in the booth, but I'm asked to fill in tonight, and that's exactly what I tend to do. I got my buddy Matt Metler, the local name that everybody knows here. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Greg, I am doing great. As the sun goes down, Thursday night lights come up. We take it to the Finger Lakes region of New York, throw in a couple left and right hand turns. The Fired Up Esport League getting ready to face off tonight. 50 laps at the Glen. I am ready to go, sir. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Matt, we are going to have a ball here tonight. The guys are just finishing up qualifying right now as we speak. So let's try and pull up the race qualifying grid as it sits right now. Alex Link is your current leader as they're still winding down right now. Johnny Avila, Cody Porter sits in third place right now. Brandon Cooper is in fourth. Josh Benoit in fifth. Brian Whitley in sixth. Andrew Ton in seventh. And the last car that's qualified as of right now is Jerome Weigel. I'm going to apologize right now if I butchered any of those names because I'm going to assume that I have. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about this league? Because I'll be honest, I'm coming in blind, man. So, what do you got for us?
Well, Greg, you may be blind, but you're no stranger to NASCAR, the truck series in general. You're actually the perfect man for the job. I'm glad you're alongside me tonight. Looking at the top five qualifying order, there is no shock there. Alex Link, the first three races of this season, this man was like a machine. He was sat on the pole, won every race, the first three races, had an issue on pit road, ran into some problems a couple weeks ago at Texas, but Alex Link, Cody Porter, Brandon Cooper, Josh Bennett, Brian Whitney, Whitney Nation in the house on YouTube. I see you guys there in the chat, always supporting, showing your love for the Fired Up Esports series tonight. Greg, I can promise you this. These guys are going to come through, deliver. It's going to be a high octane, high action packed race. There's going to be passing every lap. These guys, you can pitch a tent over them anytime on the racetrack, so strap yourself in. It's about to get rowdy.
Matt, I am then so excited to see what's going to happen here tonight. As the field has hit the grid, let's attempt to pull up our qualifying. Why aren't you popping up for me, please? Maybe not.
Good luck, everyone.
That's
and,
odd right now.
I'm gonna apologize.
So right now, I'll start
Cup
off.
Car
We're
setup
going through this, having a little bit of an
well.
issue here with SDK that I'm using here tonight. I'll get it figured out in a few minutes, folks. Don't worry. Starting off tonight, Alex Link in first place here. Second place, Johnny Avila. Cody Porter here in third. Brandon Cooper lines up outside of the second row. Josh Benoit will start fifth. Brian Whitney starts in sixth here. Andrew Ton, seventh. Jerome Weigel starts in eighth. Jeremy Gerard starts in ninth. And Ron Holmes starts in 10th. Matt?
All right, let's bring them through the rest of the 14 drivers starting this race tonight. In position 11, number 21, Chris Vincent, your 12th place qualifier. That is going to be Clayton White, MFIC, the man alive and in charge of this league. In 13th, Anthony Emick. And on shotgun on the field tonight, Frank Peacock, but don't expect him to hang out back there for long. He's definitely someone to watch here at Watkins Glen this evening, Greg.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do. You don't typically see the trucks here, so that's going to be extremely fun to watch and see as these guys are going to be going out. We got a long formation lap here around this track. This is located here in upstate New York, and I'll tell you what, we're going to see a lot of battles. That's what this track is known for. It is so much fun. It's such high pace. You can't beat this place. The best way that I've heard somebody describe this track is that it is the super speedway of road courses because you are flat out the whole time, a lot of long sweeping turns, and it's less technical than a place such as Sonoma, Road America, something like that. So these guys really are going to let these trucks hang out, and it's going to be a great show.
Greg, you stole the words out of my mouth. Watkins Glen is technically a road course, but it does not race like a road course on any other track on the circuit within the NASCAR umbrella. You said it, high paced. These guys are going to be sending it in these corners, but that leads to tricky situations here. That bus stop, those sweeping S's, it's a passing zone, but can also be an uh-oh zone. You got to be careful not getting on the brakes too hard. You can wheel hop it, getting in the bus stop, coming off, losing the back end of that truck. Another great passing zone is just past the start finish line is you're getting hard on the brakes coming down into one. So, and again, you mentioned it, Greg. I don't think I've ever seen the trucks run on Watkins Glen. No doubt in my mind that these drivers here are the caliber drivers to get the job done tonight, but certainly a lot of unknowns that I guess we're going to have the answers to by the time these 50 laps are over.
Yeah, and it's 50 laps. What we've heard, there's about 29 laps that these guys can make on a fuel run, and they got 3 sets of tires here. So we are going to see possibly 2 pit stops. I'm assuming a lot of guys are going for the one-stop strategy. But as they get ready, coming out of the last turn here onto this front stretch, your leader, Alex Link, is going to take them to the line as we wait. Green flags in the air. We are live here at Watkins Glen as the guys go diving down into turn 1.
That's right, we are green. John Forsyth out of the hole. Your pole sailor, Alex Link, fighting hard on the outside. They're 2x2 right now. Here comes the freight train as they're snaking up through the S's, climbing the hill right now, still 2x2. Alex Link holding hard on the outside, and he overtakes the position away from the out of the 63 of Johnny Ovala right now. Cody Porter, Brandon Cooper, and Josh Bennett in close pursuit.
Yeah, we got a great battle here. These guys are all lined up as they're diving down into what's known as the bus stop. You're going to see a lot of guys have trouble here because if you get the entry into the bus stop wrong, it's going to make for a long night. Johnny's going to lead them down into the carousel here as they're going to get onto this little short backstretch where you can make up a lot of time by diving off like we just saw there from Cody Porter. Dives way off over the rumble strips. He's really going to close in now on Alex Link for second place.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. There is no double line. There is no out of bounds here at Watkins Glen. So, hey, if your truck will go over it, if it's faster, these drivers are going to take it. As we've already just about completed lap 1, that's how fast 2.45 miles goes by here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway, right here in Wine Country, New York. 10 has a little bit of rear brake dialed in as he almost lost it, but he recovered nicely. Out in front, still shining the way, the 63, Johnny Ovala, followed by Alex Link, the 10. We're starting to see these guys just kind of gap out just a little bit right now, Greg. And if you're going for the one-stop strategy, you're going to want to try to conserve those tires and brakes as much as you want. You get too aggressive in these corners, especially coming out of that bus stop, you're going to burn those rear tires off in no time.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be tough here. As we look right now, most of the field is spread out by at least a second or so between everybody. Your closest battle is between Johnny and Alex up in front. You've got about 3/4 of a second gap between them. I'm apologizing now for the ticker, folks. I don't know why it is not showing me. It looks like everything's stuck in practice. So when we go to a commercial break here in a few minutes, I'm going to reload my SDK file and see if I can get that fixed for all of us.
Yes, certainly, Greg. Appreciate all your efforts and coming on board, jumping in and helping us get this broadcast brought to you guys tonight. Again, if you guys don't know who SRM is, you can count on us for racing action Monday through Sunday right here. If you don't subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, smash that like button. You can count on us for 24/7 racing action right here. So hope you guys are strapped in, ready to go with us this evening. Going back to the top of the leaderboard, 63 is still carrying the torch out in front, followed in close pursuit by Alex Link. He is just about all over the back bumper, waiting for that 10 for that 63 truck to possibly make a mistake, and he can regain that lead. Very uncharacteristic right now, though, Greg, as we look inside the top 5. Usually these guys at any given point up in the top 5, top 6, you can pitch a tent on them. So looks like the story of tonight may be survive and alive. But right now, seeing a lot of good sportsmanship, racing the racetrack, not themselves right now, just trying to get a feel for the racetrack and their truck, maybe starting to think about what adjustments they want on that one lone pit stop if things fall into place that way, Greg.
Yeah, and like you said, the strategy that I were pulling if I were racing this track right now is I would want that one-stop strategy. I think it's advantageous. We haven't seen tire fall off be too dramatic as we got the ticker back up, although it does show under yellow, and I know how to fix that. There we go, folks. Now we're back in business. All right. Apologize
It's magic.
for that. Yeah, it is. Just takes a little bit of magic. Now everybody got to see behind the curtain. Ooh, the Wizard of Oz. He's not so scary. Sorry. Sorry,
Yeah,
Matt.
Victoria's only got one more secret left.
Oh, yeah. For everybody that knows, I'm here to have fun. They bring me in. I'm kind of the technical analyst that you hear a lot on some SRM races. I race. I just finished up racing with Thunderclap right now. They're about to go into our summer break, or our winter break, I should say, before the new season starts up in March. But I also race on Friday nights in the iRacing E Series. So if you see me around, that's who I am. Come say hi, jump in, and let everybody know who's watching. I've got the YouTube chat up right now, and if anybody's in there wants to say hi, pop in, come chat with us. We want to hear what everybody's saying. As Matt, we got a little battle going for 6. I want to jump back and look at this between Josh Benoit and Brian Whitney.
Josh Bennett and Brian Whitney, they tend to find themselves bumper to bumper, door to door on the racetrack throughout the course of this season. They've put on a lot of great battles in the past, hard side by side, but clean racing. Looks like right now, if you know what, I can tell you what's going to happen here, Greg. If I'm the 76 Brian Whitney Nation in the house tonight, I know you guys are going to show up in that YouTube chat any second. He's just sitting back there. He's just stalking him, trying to get him drive out that rear view mirror, Greg. And you know what I'm talking about. You start driving out that rear view mirror, you're going to make a mistake on one of these corners, exit off, and that's going to put him right in the wheelhouse to strike and overtake that position.
Oh, for sure. And all it is it's mind games. That's all that Brian's doing right now. We're 6 laps out of 50. You're getting about a 29-lap fuel run. So if guys are racing the race backwards like you do at a lot of road courses, you're not going to go over 50 laps. That's it. There's no green-white checkers. There's no yellows. There's nothing. It's 50 green flag laps no matter what. So if I'm doing that strategy of I'm trying to run the race backwards, means I'm going to short pit the field. So I'm going to come in around lap 21 to 22. If I'm running a full fuel strategy, so I have a little bit fresher tires late in the run, then I'm coming in at lap 28 to 29, maybe save a little bit of fuel, and come in on lap 30 to 31.
Exactly, and it's the game of chess, the battle of the minds, if you will. The crew chiefs on top of the pit box, they're going to have that calculator smoking. Because there's one thing that changes. You throw a late race caution in there, a caution that comes in to play lap 21, 22, that throws everything with that strategy out the window. So a lot to see to unfold here, but getting back to this battle between the 6th and the 7th place trucks right now, that 76 of Brian Whitney is just close enough to say, hey, I'm here, don't slip, because if you do, I'm going to take that spot. I like his position right now, the way he's just kind of letting him know he's there, but he's not there, Greg.
Oh, yeah, and you're going to see these guys do that all night long. It's going to be, like you said, you want to get in their head. The way to win this race, or at least for a lot of the guys in the mid-pack, the way to advance in this race is you have to race the track, like you said before, Matt. You're not running you're running to run the fastest laps that your truck allows you to do lap after lap after lap. You're not necessarily in a hard tire save. You're not necessarily in a long fuel run save. You are simply running the best laps that you can every time. And what you want to do is push that guy ahead of you. Every time he goes, like right now, I'm watching the battle between Jerome and Jeremy and Anthony right there. If I'm Jeremy, every time we get to that bus stop, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, get a little closer. I'm going to push it a little harder, get on the throttle a little sooner coming out of the bus stop here, or out of the carousel. All I'm trying to do is get in the head of the guy in front of me and make him think. Because if I've got him looking in his rear view, as we have an issue for Ron Holmes, he's had an off track. Ooh, yeah. He lost it going into turn 1 there.
You know what? He lost it going into turn 1, and I guarantee you it was just like you were talking about. And you wouldn't think at 150, 60 miles an hour it would come down to a game of inches, but that's exactly what he did. He got that other guy driving out the rearview mirror. He missed his braking zone, and he made a mistake. Nice recovery, though, but just like that, as we have a truck, it looks like off in the sand pit.
Yeah, that's Andrew. Looks like he's had the same issue going down into turn 1 that Ron had. Let's take a look here. No, he just looped it. Ooh. Gets it into that inside wall coming out of turn 1. Right at the pit exit here. So he's going to wait and spin that truck around. Sees 21 coming. Going to let him go. Good on you, Andrew, there. The nice thing is, doesn't look like there's a lot of damage, if any, on that truck. So he's going to keep that thing going.
Yeah, Greg, and I made a mistake. That sand pit is no longer there. And, obviously he's a beneficiary. That certainly would have been a lot worse back in the day. I promise you that truck wouldn't be as straight as it is and still have all 4 tires on it. But he continues on, still in it to win it. Still has plenty of time to get back into contention to compete for a win here tonight.
Absolutely. Anthony's had an off track here coming out of the bus stop. Got that right side dinged up fairly good. We're going to let everybody know right now, Ron Holmes, sadly, is still sitting on pit road after his little incident there, getting that truck all fixed up. Anthony is still up and going. Excuse me. And Matt, do these guys have a fast repair? I assume not.
As far as I know, they were not awarded a fast repair for this road course race here tonight, emphasizing on the driver to keep it professional, trying to just keep everyone in check a little bit, trying to minimizing on some of the caution and some of the mistakes that happened a few weeks back at Texas. So no, there are no fast repairs tonight. If they get into some trouble, they tear that truck up, that's going to be a potential big devastating points hit. And that's probably indicative why we're seeing such a spaced out racing right now, not trying to get involved in anything early.
Yeah, as we see a battle here now between Josh and Brandon. Brandon had a lot of trouble, and he's letting Josh go on this front stretch. We've seen Josh steadily moving his way forward. He's been, Brian, not Josh. Brian has been steadily moving his way forward. Josh let Brian by. And that's all it was. Brian got into Josh's head, it looks like, as they came out of the bus stop going into the final 2 corners here. And Josh just said, you know what? You've been hounding me. You're on my bumper. Take it and go.
And that's racing the racetrack. You got someone that's faster than you. If they're making you push yourself at a pace you don't like, you understand that you're burning your tires up, you're getting your brakes a little too hot, let that other guy behind you go. Make him burn his stuff up. Race the racetrack. Save your tires, and you can potentially run him back down and a lot of other vehicles before that next pit stop comes out.
Absolutely. And Matt, like we said before, this is known as the super speedway of road courses. As I'm going to give a second here, once Brian gets back to the line, I've got a helmet cam on him, so we can let everybody watch this race and take a lap around Watkins Glen from the helmet. We say it's a super speedway of road courses because you are so fast-paced. Right now, I need to pull where is it? I can't pull up.
I can tell you, going up the hill right now, the winding S, is Brian Whitney is at about 30 miles an hour, and he's going to come out of that S down that back straightaway, approaching speeds of about 155 to 60 before he starts getting hard into that braking zone for that bus stop.
Yeah, and you're going to see these guys right now. Look, that going into that bus stop there, it is so tough to hold that car in place. Because the only way to get around it is you have to hit those rumble strips. You have to get the left side tires essentially into the air as you come down this little front stretch here. But yeah, that's the best way around the bus stop. Get your left tires into the air on entry and exit, and then, make sure you save the rear end of that car from sliding out under you. As we look now, this is that little back turn. We'll keep it on Brian for another lap. But these guys are really starting to struggle, and I'm seeing a couple guys kick the rear ends of their car out more and more each lap, which is telling me they're really struggling.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm seeing a lot of these guys stepping the rear end out. Just had one of our competitors duck down pit road. That Monster Energy machine was certainly hanging it out like it was drift night the past lap and a half. So, and again, the other part of this too is, Greg, this is an open setup lead. So do you set your truck up for the short run? Do you set it up for the long run? Right now the sun's back out. That's going to raise that track temperature. That's going to lower the grip a little bit. So you might see some wedge and some other adjustments going on this first round of pit stop.
Yeah, and that driver on pit road is Josh. He has come back down. He's off pit road now. He took a 4-tire change. And we talked about the one-stop strategy. Josh is going to be running the 2-stopper, meaning he's going to come in, pit now about lap 12, like you just saw, and he's going to run probably to about lap 30. He's going to run this middle section long, ideally, because he's got 2 extra sets of tires, and he's going to try and do it that way, to use his tire strategy versus fuel versus, running long and trying to undercut everybody else. To make this car work, make this strategy work, which tells me he's got his truck set for the short run.
Absolutely, you took the words right out of my mouth. So a short truck setup at a racetrack like Watkins Glen, Greg, you know this better than anybody. That truck is going to be bad fast for about the first 10, 11 laps. But as that fuel load wears off, especially in these trucks, and those tires get hot, it's going to start to plow a little bit and it become loose off. So you better be hands up, have that wheel grip at the 10 and 2 position, however you like to hold on to that thing, because after that point, you're going to be on the edge for the remainder of that run.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look back up front here with Alex. He's now about 3.5 seconds back of Johnny in first place. And you see these guys have that long run set like we talked on as, Alex really sliding the rear end there. Definitely, save it, buddy. And that's, for everybody that just saw it, that's how on edge you are in these trucks. He started touching the gas and that rear end over those bumps, or the turtles as some folks call them, really upset that truck for him.
Right, and Alex Link, I call this man Mean Machine for a couple different reasons, but this guy always gets out of shape, and you think he's going to wreck, and he's out of control while being in control, Greg, if that makes sense. If that truck's not hanging out, if it's not sliding, if it's not bumping and humping, he's not having fun in that race truck. I can promise you that. That's driving just how he wants it.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the similar. I want that truck to have a little bit of looseness early on so I can really hang that thing out and have some fun. But you just have to be so careful, because this new tire model, I say new, the old tire model now that iRacing has for these trucks really causes you issue if you overheat that rear tire early on. It's very tough to cool that tire, and you lose grip so quickly.
Greg, you bring up a great point. So that new tire composition compound they have, like you just touched on, you overheat that tire, I believe it somehow changes the molecular compound of that tire. And it's not like the old one. You can't cool it off necessarily and recover that grip. Once you cook it, it's cooked for the remainder of the run, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, that's it. It takes a long time if you're going to try and get that thing cooled back down. It takes a long time, and you have to really slow down in order to get that thing cooled down. And it looks like Anthony has had another little issue here. Into the bus stop. Was it just a cause of overdriving? Yes, it was. Just got a little bit too far out. Whoa. Good there. Good dodge there by the 54 of Andrew Tom. Yeah, it could have been really bad. Andrew's not enjoying that truck too much at the moment. But like we said earlier on, you got to be so on edge and get those left side tires and then your right side tires over the curbing. And if you don't, you're gonna have a rough night.
You know, I want to swing it back to the racing action here, Greg. This is something I have never seen since I have been hooked up and a part of the series week in and week out. Through the first top 5 competitors, we have a whopping 21-second differential on the racetrack. That's 63. He is on a rail like a slot car back in the day. He is putting on a clinic when it comes to the pace right now. Currently has 5 seconds over Alex Link and 15 seconds over the third place truck of Cody Porter at this time.
Yeah, and Cody's got a little battle with Brandon Cooper going on right behind him. You know, and like we said, these guys, you have to race yourself. If you try and race the guy ahead of you all night long, you're going to get yourself in trouble, and you're going to burn your stuff up. You're going to go off track. You're going to get into a wreck. The best way to race this track is to race yourself. Just turn the best laps you can, time after time after time. Because if you don't, there's a very good chance you're missing a corner and the nose of your truck is going to meet the outside wall.
Right, and the other thing, Greg, we do call this a super speedway, but this is also probably one of the more rhythmic road courses. Getting back to what Greg is saying about racing the track, coming into your braking zones, if you try to pick it up a couple inches, you feel the front of that car start to get really light, don't force the issue. Take what that truck gives you. Coming off the corner, if you can only get 3/4 of throttle on exit, give it 3/4, because just a little bit more, that's going to put you that back of that truck out in no man's land, and you're going to be front round in a matter of no time. Just a couple examples of how you race the racetrack, not yourself. Keep your piece of equipment in best optimum performing condition for the end of this race, because at Watkins Glen, I can tell you, 8 times out of 10, there's always a caution with inside of 7 laps to go, Greg. And that's when all that hard work and due diligence you did and your team did by just sticking to the game plan, racing smart, will pay off when you restack that field, and the best equipment will always come to the front, especially here at Watkins Glen.
Matt, I couldn't have put it a better way, man. As these guys have now crossed the line, starting lap 18 of 50. Matt, what do you say we take a little break, go pay some bills, and we'll be back here in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to grab some Skittles from the 18 pit box while we're at it as well.
Hang tight, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks, to Watkins Glen and the Fired Up eSports League. My name's Greg McConey. I'm the new voice in the booth here tonight. With me, I've got my good buddy Matt Nettler. Matt, we're here at the Glen. We're having some fun. We're watching some great racing. But I believe you got some sponsors you want to shout out tonight.
Absolutely. And as you guys know, and just like you guys in the YouTube chat, there's so many men and women companies that all come together to make this production, this race possible. Gives me a job, gives Greg a job, and gives you guys some awesome racing that you can count on right here at SRM. First and foremost, want to give a big shout out to Shut Me Outdoors, one of the series' primary sponsors. Trust them for all your outdoor needs. Check out their website. Check them out on Facebook. Make sure you smash their like button. If you're thinking about your next trip, wherever it may be, whether if you're a sportsman, you're into hunting, camping, fishing, Shut Me Outdoors, check them out. They're your leader, your local leader, your hometown leader, and also one of the sponsoring leaders right here in the Fueled Up, Fired Up series.
Thank you for that, Matt. As we've hit lap 22, Cody Porter is the first one to really dive it onto pit road here. He's got a little bit of nose damage, but he is going for the one-stop short pit strategy. He's running this race backwards.
Yeah, you're right there, Greg. He just sounded the massive red alert on the one-stop strategy, lap 22, right on the nose. So you might as well just hoist the flag, if you will. He's on that one-stop strategy, but we've talked about it. I like that one-stop strategy. You like it. Apparently, he's drinking that Kool-Aid too. Is his truck certainly sitting right now on pit road in that pit stall, having 4 tires and fuel performed on it at a minimum. Probably a little bit of a chassis adjustment in there too, since that sun's been baking on that racetrack. As he now comes up the exit lane, getting that truck up to speed, grabbing a gear, and exiting back out onto the racetrack.
Absolutely. You talk about the weather. Let's look at the weather here. We currently are sitting right now at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, a nice sunny day up in the Glen, a little warm for this time of year, but the track temp right now at 100 degrees. That is a hot track, and it is very tough. As you look right now at Cody Porter, he is struggling on cold tires, which are a newer thing that iRacing has updated recently. And I'll be honest, I love this new model with cold tires. Makes it so much fun.
It makes you evolve as a driver over the course of a run. It's not going to be the same thing every time you come out of the pits, right, Greg? You have to basically untrain yourself and take yourself back to how that truck drives with brand new tires on it, and then you're going to have to evolve with how much brake, how much wheel you're putting in it over the course of the run. I love this new model. I like it. Some people hate it. But I'm always about keeping it interesting, making you have to earn that win.
Absolutely. As I'm taking a look at the YouTube chat here, Angel, excited for this duo in the booth. Casey, let's go for this. Let's do this for the number 76 of Brian Whitney. Elijah Harris shouting out Whitney as well. Matt Demoney, your local broadcaster, shouting out maybe a newcomer will win tonight, or will Porter make up for last week? Well, currently Porter, like we said, was your first one to come down pit road. He is sitting right now in 8th place. But he's made his stop, and I think it's going to set him up well for this long run here. As right now, Clayton White has also come down pit road, as he's getting himself back up to speed on tires. And as of right now, those are the only ones that have come down pit road. It looks like everybody else is deciding to run the long strategy here. And they're going to be coming in somewhere about lap 28 to 29.
Greg, remember when I told you this series, you always take the rule book, trends of the race, and throw it out the window? Boom, right there again. I would have thought the first time someone came down and took a hit of the one-stop Kool-Aid, everyone would have followed suit. But that's not the case.
No, absolutely. And sorry, buddy, go ahead.
No, it's perfectly fine. That's not the case. And we've seen these I don't want to say oddities with the pit strategies and make it sound like these guys don't know what they're doing, because they certainly know what they're doing. They just they know something that we don't. And I guarantee you, when we're sitting here at 5 to go, we're going to sit here and go, that's why that guy didn't pit.
Yeah, and I've been looking at the lap times as we're watching Brian Whitney right now on the cams as he comes into pit road to make his stop here on lap 25. You know, the leaders' lap times were all running in the 112s for Johnny and Alex, high to mid 112s. Brandon was in the 113s. Jeremy was in the 114s. Brian 114s. You know, most of these guys right now, their last laps are in the 113 to 114 range. So some of these guys, you know, Johnny's off by almost a second and a half. Alex is off by, at least his last lap was almost 2 seconds. Everybody else is still riding around, you know, about a second to 2 seconds off. So tire wear's there, but it doesn't appear to be as critical as we thought. As it looks like Brandon has had a little bit of an off. Sorry to interrupt you there, buddy.
No, you're perfectly good, and I'm so glad you brought this up. Typically on a 1.5 mile racetrack, you know, a track like Martinsville, a short track, that's a lot of time. However, this is a road course and it's 2.45 miles long. So you think about it this way. It takes you X amount of time to get that truck down to speed, get to that commitment cone. Then you got to crawl down pit road at 35 miles an hour. You got to stop in that box. You got to bring guys over the wall. You got to pull tires off. You got to put tires on. Then you got to crawl back down out of that pit stall, and you can't even jump on that throttle until you're at the exit cone.
Absolutely.
By the time that takes place, I mean, I'll eat that 2 seconds all day long.
Well, not just that. You talk about having to just get on the throttle coming off the exit. If you mash the throttle, guess what? You're putting that nose into the inside wall. So you've got a tiptoe coming out of pit road even still. We're looking at a lot of guys right now. Pit stops in about the 14 and a half to 15 second range, but total time on pit lane, anywhere from 46.3, I'm seeing up to, 47s for a lot of guys that are just taking 4 and not fixing any damage.
Yeah, and unless you're trying to be the number one guy at the VIP hot dog stand parking right outside pit road exit, like you just said, I mean, you just basically shot yourself in the foot for a chance to win this race. The only thing that'll save you, we talked about this a little bit earlier, is that late race caution. Because then what race was basically, the logic had shifted well off to your left, is now come right back into your lap because you got 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods underneath your truck and you're stacked back up. That's your saving grace. But right now, if the race keeps trending like this, I'm going to say these guys that, potentially stayed out, because they could always short pit too. You could always come down, throw a splash of fuel in there, or take 2 tires. That'll certainly shave some times off your in and off of pit road as well.
It will, but you got to be careful. I mean, we've seen, like we said, I don't know exactly what the tire wear is doing right now on these trucks, but if you come and take 2, that's really going to upset the car. And as we're looking right now, is Chris Vinson coming off a pit road right now. He gave up about a 5th place spot to come down and pit. It's going to be tough. I would not expect a lot of guys to pull that strategy of taking 2, mainly because it takes you 46 seconds minus a 14-second stop. So 32 seconds to come down pit road. If you're trying to do a 2-stop strategy, you got to be running, faster than the leader lap times pretty much the whole time in order to catch back up.
And not saying that's not possible, but it's certainly not probable to happen. Is that fair to say, Greg?
Oh, I fully agree, especially with the pace that Johnny and Alex and Jeremy have been running. As we're looking at it, Johnny coming down right now, followed by Alex. I don't see you being able to do it. These guys are laying down blazing fast lap times, lap after lap after lap after lap. It's not, I don't think there's any way that these guys are at least going to do that in order to get the lead of this race. Now, in order to get at some of the guys around you, to get ahead of them, the chance is there. But at that point, I'd rather be, pulling a strategy to either be pitting 2 laps ahead of them and short pit that way versus forcing myself to have to come back down pit road to get a splash of fuel because I decided to do something along that route.
Exactly. And the other part of this too, we touched on this as well. This is a very rhythmic racetrack, and if you look at your potential top 3 podium finishers, they have everything going for them right now when it comes to rhythm. The 63, your leader right now, Johnny per se, he's out there in no man's land. He's out there on a Sunday drive right now at a super speedway road course. There's not even anyone breathing on him that can see him with binoculars potentially. He's out there 15 seconds to the good all by himself. The same thing for the 10 of Alex Link. He's basically out there just, cruising, doing his thing, no pressure. The next competitor behind him, he's 39 seconds back of the leader. So they're out there just smiling, logging laps, counting each one down, and they know they're going to want, if they don't win, they know they're going to have a great points day.
You say that, and you brought up how Johnny's 15 seconds up right now. Johnny also pitted, and he still has 15 seconds on Jeremy, who got ahead of Alex, as Alex has now gotten back around him, as it looks like Jeremy has let him go. Jeremy, we heard about 29 laps. He's looking to run this as long as he can, which, you know what? If you're going to have any shot, I'm going to say now, if you're going to have any shot to beat Johnny or Alex for the win here tonight, as Johnny has laid down the fastest lap, his fastest lap again. If you're going to have any shot to beat him, you've got to do something different. You cannot run the same strategy he is, or you're praying that he has some sort of an issue that takes him out of this race. Because otherwise, Johnny's out there, like you said, he's on a Sunday drive, driving away right now.
And that's exactly it. You cannot play in racing. You cannot play follow the leader and expect to win. That's why it's called follow the leader. If you can't beat them at their game, you have to diversify your game, come back at them. So right now, I bet you that pit box, there is smoke blistering out the guys on top of the box right now, trying to figure out a scenario, a strategy where they could possibly overthrow the 63, because he is king of the throne right now here at the Glen.
He is. I've got the blimp view right now, and Johnny is like, he's all by himself. There's nobody around him. As it looks like Jeremy and Anthony have come down pit road to make their stops right now. Let's get a better camera view for all of that. That's not a good one. That's a good one. Jeremy's sitting here right now, gave up what was 3rd place. And we see Jerome in as well, as along with Anthony Emmerich. And where's Jerome? There he is, just on pit road now. So these guys went, they've got 20 laps to go. They're going to have the freshest tires, but I don't know if they've got enough tire difference from the leader. Certainly they've got the difference to those around them in order to gain the spots. But we talked about Johnny on a Sunday drive. He's not acting like he's on a Sunday drive. He just laid down the fastest lap of the race 2 times in a row. As it looks like Brandon may have had a little bit of an issue. We'll get back to Johnny's fast lap in a minute. Turn 1 again, diving in a little too deep, a little too much rear brake. There he goes.
And just like that, which was rhythmic on a Sunday drive, you get just a little too greedy, and the lady at the Finger Lakes just comes up and bites you, and you're around.
Absolutely. The good thing for Brandon, though, is he is not having to worry too much about anybody around him. He didn't have to worry. He's got Jeremy coming back to him right now. But when he made that slide, he didn't have anyone around him, so that saved him a lot of trouble there. Now, I'm interested to see what Jeremy's going to be doing here, as Alex Link has laid down the fastest Sector 1 time of this race by almost 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, mean machine Alex Link. That man is always fast. You can count on him to be up there qualifying and in race trim. So that's no surprise there. But man, look at this guy. I mean, from my perspective in the booth, Johnny's truck never looks like it gets upset. I mean, you would think he's taking it easy, but he's out there like the ice cream man, because he is putting the smoke on out of that truck. I can't get over how consistent that truck is over the course of the run. It barely falls off.
Barely falls off, and yet we watched him just dive into the bus stop, and all 4 tires got off the ground. I've seen his truck get loose and twitchy on him once, and he corrected that truck and snapped his fingers back at it, and that truck has not left or stepped out of line in any way since then. He has total control on this truck and total control on this field right now. I believe, if I'm right, everybody back to 8th place of Chris Vinson is on the lead lap. 7 trucks right now that started, 13 that started, 7 of them are on the lead lap. We have 17 laps to go here in the Fired Up Esports League. I'm Greg McConey, the new voice in the booth here tonight. Matt Mettler is joining me, your common commentator, we should say. Matt, while this is all going on, let's take one, kind of a halfway style break. What have you thought of this race so far?
Oh, so what I thought about this race so far is we're learning so much critical data, right? We didn't know what these trucks were going to do on this track because we haven't seen it. We know these trucks are up for the challenge. Tires are your friend here at the track. They hold up. What seems to be the Achilles heel is being a little too aggressive and trying to take a little more than what the track will give you. That's where we see some of these guys coming into trouble that are in, 8th, 9th, 10th place or a couple laps down. It wasn't necessarily that they had a bad run. No, they just tried to be a little aggressive, and they paid the piper for it. So my takeaway from this race is this: we're seeing great racing by all the guys in this series are phenomenal. The guys that you expect to be at the front, the 10, Alex Link, Brian Whitney, big shout out to Whitney Nation in the YouTube chat, Cody Forner, Clayton White 53. It's nice to see you having a run indicative of your performance. Keep that up, man. But I'm loving it. I call myself Mr. Excitement when I call this series because these guys are fired up. They get me fired up. And I know you're fired up, man. So let's take a break and bring this thing home.
Sounds good to me. We're going to take one more little commercial break. Let everything kind of settle down for us in the booth as we've got 16 laps to go. We'll be right back, folks. Hang tight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fire It Up Esports League race here at Watkins Glen International. My name is Greg McConey, filling in for Mike here tonight, Mr. DeMoney. But I've got my buddy Matt Metler here. Matt, we've seen a heck of a race. We've got 14 laps to go, and this is the closest battle that we've got on track right now. Tonight's race brought to you by a Shutney Outdoors. Matt, why don't you give us their read one more time?
Again, can't thank all of our sponsors, all the men and women that sponsor these trucks, work on these trucks, and especially all the companies that support us right here at SRM this series. Without you guys, we can't make this possible. Each and every week, we get to bring you this great live racing action. Again, Shutney Outdoors. If you guys haven't checked them out on Facebook, go ahead, give them a like, a follow. Next time you're in the market for any outdoor needs, whether it's camping, boating, fishing, hunting, they got a ton of apparel selection to check out, to choose from. You want it sent home, you know they got you covered. Expedited shipping available. Shutney Outdoors, your #1 source, all things outdoor.
Thank you for that read, Matt. 13 laps to go. This is a great battle here between Jeremy and Brandon, but there's another battle happening right now between Jerome and Chris. These guys have been fighting it out. They picked up next to each other, about 2 laps ago, and I've kind of had my side eye on it watching our live timing and scoring. These guys have been going at it, getting side by side, back and forth, and I'm loving seeing this fight now.
Okay, so I'll confess, I've been watching this too. I didn't want to go there because I didn't want to, the old announcer curse to come out in full force, but since you brought it up, I didn't know if you noticed this, but Wolverine has been ran down the side of that 21 machine. These guys are just going at it. He is, knocking on the back door. It's not DiGiorno, it's the 21 of Prince Vincent, for Christ's sake. These guys are putting on a show right now. Some of the best racing we've seen all night.
You talk about, how scratched up that driver's side is on that truck. You see it. I'm going to try and get a little better view if I can right now. My bad. Left front suspension. This truck, it's seen a little bit of wear and tear, but look at this move. Jerome is all over his back bumper, just pressuring Chris lap after lap, trying to push him deeper into the turns, deeper into every corner in order to see if he'll make that mental mistake where Jeremy can get the run. It takes one little mistake. Like we said, you stop racing the track and you race the other driver one time, and that could be it.
You're absolutely right, Greg. That Sunday drive has now suddenly transformed to Monday morning, 6 a.m. on the Washington Beltway, 6 lanes across, all trying to funnel down at DC at once. But you know what? I guarantee both these drivers right now have a huge smile on their face because you know what? While they're racing hard and they're letting it hang out, they're beating and banging a little bit, they got no one else around them. So if they have a little fun and accidentally maybe put themselves in harm's way, they don't have to worry about anyone else paying the piper. So these guys right now, they're grinning, they're racing as hard as they can, and heck, they're racers after all. That's what they're paid to do.
Absolutely. As we're going to break away from this battle real quick, we're going to go back to Jeremy and Brandon right now. This is another fight that I'm loving. We were watching these guys before. We saw Brandon have a little bit of an issue in that 18 truck. But right now, these guys are going, same thing, tooth and nail. They're trying to get to each other's bumper, rattle his cage a little bit, and just see what they can do.
Yeah, that Skittles machine, all of a sudden, he's got the super sour ones on board right now. He's got a little bit of some damage on the front of that grill. Looks like a big old shark mouth coming at you, looking out the back of that 7 machine, I can promise you that. And how fitting. Did you see what's on the tailgate of the 7 by chance?
No, but I will get everybody a view here in about 2 seconds. I love it.
I had no idea that was there. I had no clue.
That's fantastic. You see these guys running McConey Setup Shop. No, I am not McConey behind McConey Setup Shop. That is my brother. But if you need stuff, definitely go check out the Tony Setup Shop. They do a great job. I run their stuff all the time, like a lot of people do. As this battle's heated up, I wish we could do a side-by-side on iRacing. Look at that 18 get sideways into the bus stop.
Oh!
And you know what? He made it work. He's at Jeremy's bumper. He's clear.
Oh, are you kidding me? He puts the drift job on him, slides it through the entirety of the stop, and takes the position.
Now, I don't know if Jeremy saw that slide out of his rearview mirror. He missed the entry into the carousel, and that let Brandon get the little jump that he needed. He's now pulled away by 0.8 of a second, and he's setting his sights. Well, he's got the binoculars out to try and get a hold of Clayton White, who is about 9-10 seconds ahead of him.
You know what is amazing and as skillful as that was? I guarantee you, if you radioed the seven right now and ask him to do that again, he's going to say no.
No, I don't want to.
No,
thanks.
No thanks.
I'm plenty good.
I mean, that looked like the race at Watkins Glen between Marcus Ambrose and Brad Keselowski. I don't know if you remember that race or not.
Oh,
but
I do. I was waiting for that analogy to come back up. That was a fun one.
Yeah, probably one of the best finishes at Watkins Glen. In fact, you had a couple classic ones right there in a very short period of time. But man, you got now you flip the roles. Now you got the angry bottle cap chasing the Skittle.
Yep, and these guys are all over it. While up front, we're going to take a quick break away from this battle. We're going to jump up front to your leader, Johnny, as he's kind of making his way through traffic right now. He's getting ready. Oh, that truck twitched. We hardly ever see that truck twitch out of Johnny. Now, it's not going to do anything for these guys, you know, aside from maybe give those around them a little bit of a, how do I say, a little bit of a boost and a desire to go out and get them.
Yeah, just a little bit of an incentive, right? I mean, at least you would hope, but we're being a little sarcastic here, of course. That's going to make you get up on the wheel just a little bit more aggressive, drive it in the corner just a little bit more, and hey, for all intents and purposes, if you're driving it in a little bit harder, you're going to want to accelerate off that corner just a little bit better as well. So it's definitely going to kick up the action just a tad as we are closing in. I can't believe it. Almost coming to 5 laps to go as we're working on lap 43 right now, Grant.
Coming to 7 to go, my friend. Yeah, coming to 7 to go.
Well,
we got 50 laps here.
Oh, you were the have-not earlier with your tech issues. Now it's my turn because I clearly am not on the same lap pace as you guys are, but I'm saying the same thing on the screen. So, hey, we'll take it.
Well, you're seeing us ahead. Do you see anything coming in the future? Anything you want to give us a little hint to?
Well, 1.21 gigawatts later, I'm pretty sure we're going to go back to the clock tower and we're going to say, yeah, Johnny won this one. As long as he doesn't make a mistake. And do I even want to say that word, the C word? I'm not going to go there. I don't want to be that guy right now.
If they use iRacing cautions, it's not coming. If they've got a live admin and something crazy happens, it might be there. I know when I was in the iRacing E-Series League, we whenever we came to a road course, we always threw a yellow. Oh, look at that, Johnny! Be careful, buddy. Johnny all over the back end of the 23 of Anthony. Anthony's going to pull out and let him go. We would throw a yellow with about 12 laps to go in order to get a 9 to 10 lap shootout simply for the fun of it. That's something we love to do. As we're going to jump back to this battle real quick, but while we're watching these guys of Jeremy and Chris fight it out, I think I'm saying it right, Jeremy Weigel?
That's correct, Jeremy Weigel.
Good, I'm glad I got that. As we're watching this battle, we'll run through the top 5 real quick. Johnny Avila, of course, your leader out front as he's been most of the night. Alex Link sitting in 2nd place with Brian Whitney sitting in 3rd. Cody Porter 4th, Clayton White right now in 5th place. And if I remember correctly, as we see the ticker come across the screen, only the top 4 drivers are on the lead lap here, as 6 laps to go are on the screen. This has been a clinic from Johnny.
Yeah, this is an all-out masterpiece, and you won't even know it because you don't see a lot of hard side-by-side racing around him or in a lot of the different camera angles you've had tonight, quite frankly, because, well, the racing action just may have not been there, but don't let that take away from the clinic that this man has put on, consistently putting up blistering lap times, lap after lap after lap tonight.
Absolutely. And we're going to go back to this battle between Jeremy and Brandon because these guys are all over each other. What I forgot to mention is Clayton White, your first car 1 lap down, sitting in 5th place. Brandon and Jeremy sitting right now in 6th and 7th, respectfully. 8th place is Jeremy. Chris Vinson is in 9th, and 10th is Andrew Tahn. Behind them, Anthony Emmerich sits in 11th. Josh Bennett sits in 12th, and 13th is Ron Holmes as they run with 5 laps to go.
And right now, I want to take a moment. Clayton White, big shout out to you tonight, man. You have had such crazy, unimaginable things happen to you out the course of my time in this series. Always been a contender, and just, he's had just the odds against him in ways I can't imagine, where he winds up in trouble, gets caught up in someone else's mess. Impersonated Evel Knievel on accident back at Martinsville, jumping the berm there or jumping the curbing at the bottom of the turns there at the paperclip. Way to put it together, Clayton White. Solid top 4 right now. There you go, man. Keep it going.
Yeah, Clayton sits in 5th right now. Is that battle behind him between Jeremy and Brandon? Now they've got lap traffic involved. But these guys, I watched them come out of the bus stop, and I saw those two fly down over the curbing with so much speed and just trying to get around these guys right now with Anthony, and who is at the 53 ahead of them. Not the 53, the 54, sorry, of Andrew Tahn. They've kind of disrupted this a little bit. Nothing they could do, nothing wrong that either lap car did. They did everything they needed to do. This track is just such, it's one groove, and it's so rhythm that as soon as you get out of it, like we said all night long, it makes it so tough. As right now, we're going to jump back up. And
one thing I do want to mention is these trucks, I just want to say, these trucks love getting up close and personal with that curbing tonight. I mean, they just eat it when it comes to setting up the corner and the exit off. I would have thought by now, as much curbing as they're throwing at these trucks, they would get upset, out of shape, but they're not. It's almost like the more curbing they throw at it, the better that truck transitions.
Yeah, the better the truck transition, that's also a huge testament to the skill that these drivers have. This isn't a normal combination that you see. We don't see the trucks ever go to Watkins Glen. It's been a long time since I think they had a truck race at Watkins Glen. But these guys came out here in custom sets, like you said, and they are doing it to this track tonight. They are laying it down. They're taking control. And you're seeing these guys slide this rear end and do everything that they want to do, and this truck is agreeing with them on just about every level.
Certainly, and very well said. These drivers are being able to showcase why they're in all of the elite leagues across iRacing, and why that truck definitely deserves a race here at the Glen. Because these guys are just, I mean, the level of driving we've seen over the course of this race is epic. I mean, I just watched 2 laps between the 63 of our leader tonight, Johnny Be Good up front, Johnny Be Fast up front, Johnny Avala. He was sideways more than he was pointing straight that lap, and he's hanging it out right now going into 1, and he just drifted it, corner off, and he's still putting up a blister in pace, and there he is again. He's just having fun out there. You guys are watching some of the best in iRacing right now. Leave it all out there on the edge, not going over, and putting on some great individual performances right now on the racetrack.
They really are. There looks like something's happened between Brandon Cooper and Anthony Emmerich here coming into turn one. Let's go back, take a look. Oh, did something happen between these two? Oh, too much rear brake. Cooper had way too much rear brake on the entry into that corner there.
I was going to say one of those Skittles is missing there off the left side.
Yep, and Anthony did the same. He saw Brandon kind of coming around. And all that is the same thing that we've said all night long. Race the track. Race yourself, right. Race the track. Don't race the guys around you. As we're going back up front right now, white flags in the air. Johnny is taking it to the house here tonight. He's got one more time around Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that's right. The man on the mission tonight, Johnny. I'm going to call this man Johnny Be Good because that's all he's been. He's been good. He's been bad fast here from the drop of the green flag. And he is going to try to complete one more circuit here. Take it to the house right here in wine country, right in the Finger Lakes region of Western New York. And again, we've learned so much tonight. We may not have seen the level of competition between the side-by-side action and the hard, intense racing, but we've seen an awesome, epic display of man, machine, on a road course track that proves that, you know what, this truck needs to be on this racetrack because these guys are just putting on an individual clinic here tonight. I mean, they are flying. They are every which way but straight. And it's gotta be fun from the driver's perspective. And I've been a fan at this race many different points and times in my life. And I know if I was watching that, I would not be disappointed.
You talk about no disappointment. Johnny takes the checkered flag here. He has zero disappointment in this race, in his performance here tonight. Alex Link is coming in to get ready to come to that last turn right now to take his number 10 truck home in second place. There was something that happened with Cody Porter. We'll go back and take a look after all this has gone down. Alex takes the line in second place. Here comes Brian Whitney. He's going to be, as of right now, your third place finisher. He's got about 24 seconds back to Clayton White, actually, who I think may have taken the flag. So that may have locked Brian Whitney into this third place finish tonight, and I believe it does.
Definitely going to say...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was definitely going to say your top three finishers tonight, your podium finishers, only drivers on the lead lap this evening.
That's exactly where I was going as we watch Brian come across the line for third place. Three drivers are your only ones to finish on the lead lap. That is one, like we said all night, Johnny put on a clinic with these guys. Alex and Brian did a great job. They called strategy very similarly to each other. Johnny and Alex coming in on lap 28, Brian coming in on lap 24. Clayton White comes home in fourth. Jeremy Durand comes home in fifth place. Cody Porter, having spun in turn one, is going to come home in sixth place tonight. Man, this was a heck of a race, and we're going to get ready to jump in and get your top three finishers. I got to get back to Discord. Give me 1 second.
Problem. Did I hear you drop a Jean Girard or Ricky Bobby?
I dropped the Girard, not Durand. Jeremy.
We'll go have some preps after the race.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let him happen. As we watch the man do his burnout now, we're going to go find Johnny. Maybe if he's in the booth or in Discord. I don't see him here. Let's see if I can find him.
Well, he just got done putting on quite a smoke show there.
There he is.
So,
let's pull Johnny up here. Johnny, Greg McConey in the booth here tonight with SRM. Man, you won this race. You dominated all night long. Congratulations. Tell us about this race for you.
It was pretty good. At the start,
I really wanted to battle Link to get the clean air because clean air was pretty important, surprisingly. And then yeah, it was just smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, you talk about smooth sailing, man. We hardly saw your truck step out of line all night long. Few instances there late in the end. Were tires an issue that you think a lot of guys were having, or were those tires holding up well on this beat up old road course?
Um, it looked like some guys were having some issues, but the setup that I had was really good. Like, I got to thank the guys at Moonlight Speed for giving me this set. I didn't really have much time to practice. I kind of just hopped in and went.
Well, you laid down tonight's time at a 1 minute 12.21 seconds. You started on pole. You win the race here tonight. Johnny, who do you have to thank for this performance?
Well, like I said, I got to thank Link and Cody and everybody at Moonlight for making these setups. And then, yeah. I also got to thank the league admins for letting me join. Road to Pro just finished, so had something to do for Thursday night.
Well, Johnny, congratulations. You put on a heck of a race here tonight. You did a fantastic job. Go and celebrate with your guys. Everybody, your winner here tonight, Johnny Avila. Avila?
Avila.
Avila.
Yeah.
My bad, man. I'm sure I
It's all
pronounced
good,
it wrong
dude.
a few times. Johnny Avila, congratulations. Your winner
Thank
here
you.
at Watkins Glen. As I believe, Matt, you've got our second place finisher.
Alex Link, Matt Miller up in the booth. Do you got me, sir?
I got you guys.
Alex Link, Mean Machine himself. Another strong statement win for you in the 10 team tonight. Certainly, we didn't see your classic door by door action packed battles all night long, but tonight was more just about an individualized statement as a racer and your skill set and what that truck can do out there on this road course. What a pace that you and I think your teammate there, or you guys do some alliance in the background. That pace you guys set tonight, Alex, it was like you were on a rail. I mean, you didn't really have any fall off. You guys were just so much faster than everyone else. Did anything shock you as far as tires? Anything that happened over the oddity of the run, or did you guys have enough notes on this place that when you unloaded, you knew you were going to be fast and competitive?
Well, the big thing was, like Johnny said, that clean air was big. Like, I think like the 10 laps, I think the first 10 laps where we were riding at least like within half a tenth, a second, I just was getting tight behind him, and I could just tell my fronts were going away, and I just kept on getting tighter and tighter, and that's probably where I lost all my time. I think before pit stops he was like 18 seconds ahead just because I was too tight, and then after that we were running practically the same times. But Watkins Glen I like. It's one of my favorite tracks, so it's kind of easy just to jump in the truck and turn some laps here.
Oh, definitely can absolutely understand that, and that you did. You guys definitely turned some laps here tonight, very fast ones all night long. That aero-sensitive condition that you described in Johnny as well, was that as big as a shock to you guys as it definitely was for myself and Greg up here in the booth? We certainly didn't see that being a factor.
Yeah, so Johnny and I, we were both running in the same Moonlight set, and he was complaining about being looses in the S's, and I was complaining about being tight. And I know when I was doing single car laps, it was loose. It was like, man, it wasn't like terribly loose, but it was enough to get enough rotation. As soon as I got behind a truck in the S's, it was just plowing. So yeah, you could definitely feel the difference between clean air and dirty air.
Well, that makes a lot of sense on why we saw some of the racing and some of the hard challenges some of these drivers had tonight navigating through that bus stop or those S's coming off of that very high-speed backstretch there. Who do you want to thank tonight, Alex?
I want to thank Moonlight Speed Concepts for all the work they do. Cody Porter, the owners putting up sessions for us to test nonstop. I want to thank Express eSports for also supporting us, and thank you to the league for doing this every Thursday. I enjoy coming home from work, sitting down, and just turning some laps with them. Great group of guys to run with too.
There you have it, guys. A very fired up Alex Link Keep saving the manuals, man. I'm digging that 6-speed on the side of your truck. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next week, brother.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Nation in the house.
Oh, I've had my mic muted on on stream. That was your second place finisher, Brian Whitney, in the booth with us. Brian, Greg McConey, man, you came home in third in a hard-fought battle. Tell us about your race.
Oh man, right off the rip there, I decided to try to save some and got pushed back further than I really wanted to go. And that third lap, fourth lap, I saw Johnny pulling away, and I thought, well, the only thing I do is push from here. And then, huge shout out to Johnny. I mean, he was quick. He took off, and he definitely deserved that win.
Yeah, he was he had a great race for his first race here with the league. Brian, you right now, you started off in 6th place. You finished up in 3rd. You guys, we saw a lot of guys struggling with rear tires and rear grip, kind of about midway through their runs. Was that something that you were struggling with your setup, or were you pretty locked in?
It was pretty locked in. I mean, I didn't. I practiced enough throughout the week. I knew what the truck was going to do. I knew the track was going to change temperatures like the way it did. So I practiced it enough to be able to compensate for it. So it was pretty, I did okay. Once in a while I'd overdrive it trying to catch someone, but mainly it stayed pretty solid for me.
Well, Brian, you had a fantastic race, man. Who do you have to thank here tonight after this race at Watkins Glen?
Scutney Outdoors, Time Will Tell Motorsports, all the guys there that help out every week, all the time. McConey Setup Shop for sponsoring our team. Definitely my fans, which is my family. Love you guys. And of course, you broadcasters. Appreciate you guys doing what you do.
Well, you talk about your fans. We saw your name popping up in chat the most here tonight. Everybody, your 3rd place finisher, Brian Whitney. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Well, that rounds out your top 3. And I got to tell you, Matt, this was a fantastic race. I'll be honest, I was a little worried when I read that we had the trucks going to the Glen. But these guys made it happen tonight. They put on a heck of a race, a heck of a show. And I was thoroughly impressed with the speed that these guys had.
We got to see a whole different look and aspect of this series tonight in a way that the drivers individually at times, or most of the time, got to showcase their talent in being able to just get that screen time. And from the viewer standpoint, just watch how they could keep that truck and drive that truck on. The look was different. The hardcore door-to-door beat and bang wasn't there, but this series definitely did not disappoint. And it was nice to see these guys to be able to showcase their talent on the racetrack over the course of a run and just put up. I mean, look at that pace. That pace is incredible. I could not agree with you more. Definitely a different look, a different shade, if you will, but still a darn good one right here at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely. We're going to run through your top 5 real quick. Oh, sorry about that. Wrong click. We'll run through your top 5 here in the race results tonight. Are they going to show up and cooperate? They are. Your race winner, Johnny Avila, comes home, starts on pole, finishes in 1st, followed by Alex Link. And in 3rd place, Brian Whitney. Clayton White comes home, finishes in 4th place, the first car 1 lap down. Jeremy Garand finishes in 5th.
John Gerard.
You've got Gerard stuck in my head now. Cody Porter finishes 6th. Brandon Cooper in 7th. Jeremy Weigel finishes in 8th. Chris Vinson finishes 9th. And Andrew Tunn comes home in 10th. Matt?
Once again, I want to give a big shout out to Clayton White. I told you a good finish is right around the corner, man. Keep fighting. Glad to see you inside the top 5, and rightfully so. You've deserved to be there many races throughout the course of this season. Tonight, again, what a these guys were on a laser. I mean, top three, top four, especially Johnny Avella. Oh my God. I mean, that guy, I don't even think he realized what he did. Once he goes back and watches this race, I think it's gonna sink in. That pace was just astronomical that he set up. Great racing, clean racing, smart racing. But like we said at the beginning of the race, if you don't race yourself and you start making typical driver mistakes that I know I make when I'm in this race car, this track is going to jump up and bite you. And that's exactly what happened when you tried to take more than she would give you tonight. And that was the main storyline, one of the main storylines.
Absolutely, and you saw it. Like you said, you had to race yourself and race the track. Don't race those around you, because when you do, you got in trouble. Once again, everybody, Matt, it was a pleasure being up here in the booth with you. I'm glad I got to fill in for Mr. DeMoney. But he should be back next week. I think that's next week. We'll run through real quick. I just got an updated point schedule. We'll run through your top 10 guys here. Mr. Link is currently your points leader. Whitney sits in second. Third place is Porter. Karan sits in fourth. White sits in fifth. Mr. Peacock sits in sixth. Cooper in seventh. Jensen in eighth. Holmes in ninth. And Bennett comes home in 10th. In the point standing right now after this race at Watkins Glen. Matt, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, I've had so much fun up here in the booth with you. Everybody, keep checking out. You'll have Mr. DeMoney back next week. This is a fired up esports league. My name's Greg McConey. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Keep your eyes here on SRM, as we have a lot of great upcoming races here. And we want to leave you with one final reminder. Keep your foot to the floor, keep your car off the wall, and we'll see you back here at SRM. Good night, everybody.